Sonny Hostin never stops ripping on the cops. View co-host Sonny Hostin says she introduced her son to the police ahead of time so they don't harass him for jogging in her all-white neighborhood. Roll it, Elvis.
As a mother of black children, I know that black boys are not given the presumption of innocence and the presumption of youth. I have had to be in the position where I have gone to my local police department because I know my son is going to be training for the Junior Olympics, running around the neighborhood in an all-white neighborhood, and I have brought him to the police and said, he belongs to me. This is my son. Do not harass him. Do not stop him.
Amazing. A typical Democrat moving to an all-white neighborhood, then bitching about racism. Hey, lady, there's a reason you live in that all-white neighborhood. You picked the safest place for you and your family. Now you're ragging on the cops. If you want to relocate to the south side of Chicago, it's a buyer's market. Sadly there, your son will train by running from gunfire and not from the cops.
Tyrus pulled off the unimaginable when he confronted The View head-on, and the aftermath was instant chaos. Even Whoopi Goldberg couldn't simply laugh it away. It felt like a jolt striking a perfectly arranged table with cups trembling and faces frozen in surprise as everyone in the room was caught off guard. Within seconds, the mood flipped from calm to stunned, uneasy laughter mixing with rising tension. His remark landed with such force that Whoopi's reaction spoke louder than words, turning the moment into more than just a surprise. It blended humor with controversy in a way no one expected. Did Tyrus really rattle The View with a single shocking move?
For the Junior Olympics, don't you run on like a track?
Do you know what? I gotta tell you, this story should have been the lead.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about it, all the things that we're talking about. It has everything. It's like a freaking hoax. She just lies.
It seemed like a lie.
Smollett classic.
Yes, this is a Smollett. It's a Smollett number 9. She got it off the menu. It's amazing. I might have to talk about this all day tomorrow.
If you're enjoying this takedown, don't forget to tap that subscribe button. It began like any ordinary morning on The View. Voices overlapping, coffee cups rattling as if they sensed trouble on the way. Whoopi wore the expression of someone who has witnessed every possible on-air mishap, maybe more than once. A strained feeling lingered before the cameras even finished warming up. Then Tyrus entered the discussion, not in person, but through a single line that struck the studio like a burst of truth, cutting through pride, booming opinions, and a few very delicate egos.
She is feeling guilty about being a successful black lady who lives with white people, so she has to play.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Successful slave-owning black woman. Get it right.
Yeah, slave owned. Her ancestors owned
Yes.
slaves. So she has to play up this like I am a target of oppression, so she can remain on a credentialed level with other blacks.
No, stop it, Greg. She was lying through her teeth. She's full of the cops are just in a group sitting around drinking coffee. Hey, police, this is my kid. You see him running around, you leave him alone or you're gonna deal with me. And they're like, oh, Sonny, yes, ma'am. And then the one cop was like, nah. And they're like, put it away, put the baton away, Johnson.
He didn't raise his voice or turn it into a spectacle. Tyrus remained true to his approach, calm, composed, and firmly in control, brushing aside the noise as if it barely existed. Each sentence carried that easy, nothing can surprise me tone, and that alone unsettled The View. When Tyrus speaks, he doesn't pursue drama. Instead, he redirects the spotlight back onto everyone else. The impact was subtle, precise, and cutting, far more powerful than anyone had anticipated.
That's not what I read. The true sign of the apocalypse is someone that dumb has a law degree. Worse, if your name has the word son in it, there's no excuse for not knowing how an eclipse works. But it's no surprise that Joy is the one who understands science. She's been on the science diet for years.
Oh no, nothing really comes to mind. I was like, shing. Listen, they're bitter, they're angry, they're entitled. They also should be. This should have been a reset for everyone who pushed lies and misinformation for the last. They call them Hitler. They call these things. America rejected them, and instead of coming back and saying we lied, they instead are now doubling down. So let her keep doing it, because if she keeps that up, we're going to keep getting the Senate and probably the House and the White House, because people see right through your lies. So keep doing what you're doing. Game ball to Sunny.
And The View responded just as many would predict, charging at him like a mistake that refuses to fade. The program has made disorder part of its identity. constant interruptions, never-ending contradictions, and breaking news moments that rarely change anything. On most days, it resembles less of a discussion and more of an emotional clash. It's WWE-style energy, only with coffee cups and very little reasoning. Loud, frantic, and the same unruly spectacle time after time.
Hostin's obsession with race gets thrown back in her face. Today's video comes to us from sunny Hostin. Sounds like a town. We're in sunny Hostin. She was on PBS's Finding Your Roots, a show dedicated to researching celebrity ancestry. For context, Sunny is a staunch supporter of reparations and has made a fortune spewing nonsense about white privilege and racial justice. Well, turns out she's not as oppressed as she claims she is. She's actually the descendant of slave owners from...
And then there's Whoopi, the steadfast referee holding her ground amid chaos. She remains composed, unshaken by the whirlwind around her until someone challenges her authority. In that instant, the calm shatters, replaced by a surge of decisive judgment broadcast live for everyone to witness. That piercing glare everyone recognizes, the one capable of silencing a room faster than a sudden blackout. It's commanding, unmistakable, and unmistakably Whoopi at her peak.
Sure, all that. And the price of butter. Sunny gets the game ball. If it wasn't for her, asking that question, it might have been a closer election. But when oh no, nothing really comes to mind, I was like, Ching, listen, they're bitter, they're angry, they're entitled. They also should be, this should have been a reset for everyone who pushed lies and misinformation for the last, they call them Hitler, they call these things, America rejected them. And instead of coming back and saying, we lied, they instead are now doubling.
Tyrus saw straight through the performance, wearing that relaxed heavyweight grin. He spoke up like someone who had already seen the script long before the cameras started rolling. He highlighted how The View can call for togetherness one moment, then split the atmosphere in an instant, almost as quickly as a break for ads. His words were crisp, confident, and grounded in reality, delivering the kind of wake-up call no one at that table seemed prepared to hear.
Wow. I'm a little bit in shock. I just always thought of myself as Puerto Rican, half Puerto Rican. I didn't think I was, my family was originally from Spain and slaveholders.
Yeah. So how are you feeling, my friend?
I think it's actually pretty interesting that my husband and I have shared roots.
Yeah.
So I do appreciate it.
What made the moment unforgettable wasn't noise or dramatic flair, but the steady control shown by Tyrus himself. No raised voice, no exaggerated gestures, just sharp humor and carefully measured points delivered with calm precision. While the panel carried on like unquestioned authorities of modern thought, he treated their intensity as though he were watching a comedy act slowly fall apart, quietly signaling, "So this is what counts as meaningful discussion?" The contrast was impossible to ignore. A show that promises thoughtful debate, often drifting off track like a chaotic group chat that cannot stay focused. When he coolly pointed out that pattern, the laughter came, but so did the realization that open conversation sometimes only works when everyone agrees. And the moment someone challenges The View, the subject suddenly becomes off limits. His strength came from restraint. His composed tone carried more impact than shouting ever could, and that composure seemed to unsettle the table. He wasn't chasing approval or playing along with the usual rhythm. His honesty alone shifted the atmosphere. Some viewers even joked that one quiet line from him stirred more reaction than an entire season of heated exchanges, and Whoopi Goldberg clearly didn't look pleased. But how do you corner someone who refuses to be dragged into noise and stays firmly planted in calm, direct truth?
Their brains are small. But who's the dumbest one of all? True, none of them are in Mensa, but who's the most densa? Perhaps it's Sunny who mastered the art of making idiots look smart. Now The View could ask a mirror who's the dumbest one of all, but there's no way that glass doesn't shatter. So instead, let's check out this clip from Monday's episode of The View when the ladies put their science caps on and discuss the solar eclipse.
Tyrus carried himself with the steady confidence of someone who has seen every tactic in the book and refuses to get swept into staged drama. It almost felt like he was quietly saying, "You can't rattle me. I walked away from that circus years ago." That calm certainty seemed to frustrate Whoopi Goldberg, whose reaction mixed firm authority with visible disbelief, like someone repeating the same argument for years and still wondering why it no longer convinces everyone. Yet Tyrus's real influence came from restraint. He didn't shout, he didn't sneer, he simply delivered clear, exact observations with unwavering composure. He handled the panel's intensity like a fragile balloon stretched too tight, and with one sharp comment, the entire performance seemed to deflate. He pointed out how the show can spend endless time debating small issues while presenting them as groundbreaking insight. It was as if he suggested they sounded more like casual commentators repeating popular posts than thoughtful voices offering original ideas. As he continued, his message became unmistakable. This wasn't personal or petty. It was a bright light aimed at what he viewed as a closed circle, disguised with powerful words like empowerment and justice. While Whoopi appeared to take the critique to heart, Tyrus wasn't singling her out. He was describing a pattern, a space where the loudest voice can confuse noise for wisdom. Through it all, he remained steady, offering a simple reminder. Genuine strength doesn't need cheers to prove it matters. The reaction online was immediate and intense. Some viewers argued that Tyrus had gone too far, while others applauded him for voicing what many people only say in private. Then came the unexpected turn. The panel on The View seemed to confirm his argument on live television without meaning to. The very next day, the conversation shifted into a tone of being unfairly attacked, transforming criticism into its own dramatic subplot. Their reasoning stretched so thin it almost broke, suggesting that their frequent on-air disorder was actually carefully organized discussion. It felt like hearing someone insist their pet cat was qualified to run the country, amusing to imagine, but far removed from reality. Meanwhile, Tyrus appeared completely aware of his strategy. He placed his comments carefully and allowed the reactions to speak louder than his words ever could.
Oh no, nothing really comes to mind. I was like, Shih-Ching, listen, they're bitter, they're angry, they're entitled. They also should be. This should have been a reset for everyone who pushed lies and misinformation for the last. They call them Hitler, they call these things. America rejected them. And instead of coming back and saying, we lied, they instead are now doubling down. So let her keep doing it, because if she keeps that up, we're going to keep getting the Senate and probably the House and the White House, because people see right through your lies. So keep doing what you're doing. Game balls.
As Whoopi Goldberg held on to her familiar expression of calm authority, the internet responded differently. Every raised eyebrow, mixed message, and theatrical sigh was recorded, shared, and examined in detail. That's the strange contrast of the show. It proudly claims the role of truth teller, yet struggles when that same honesty is directed inward. Tyrus offered a simple lesson. Real confidence doesn't ask for cheers. It remains steady on its own. He highlighted what he saw as selective tolerance. Agreement earns praise, disagreement invites exclusion. And that is why his quiet, measured critique struck deeper than any loud confrontation ever could. You could almost sense the shared shock in the room when the realization settled in.
It's not even that. In The View, you don't need to find Trumpers. You need to fire your race baiters.
Yeah.
You need to fire the two races. You've had people. You had a McCain on there. You've had people on there before, and you ran them off. Mm-hmm. So the racist ones who want to stick to this, Whoopi and Sonny, and was it Bette Midler? What's her name? The broke-ass Bette Midler. Fire them and bring people in. Maybe you could get McCain to come back. She was a Republican.
Suddenly, the grand image didn't look so grand anymore. Whoopi Goldberg responded in a way that felt straight out of a movie. A deep breath, a slow tilt of the head, and that unmistakable, not this again look, filled with quiet disapproval. Yet beneath the composed surface, the irritation was clear. Someone had finally challenged the narrative, and he did it with more control than anyone anticipated. Tyrus proved that the sharpest critique doesn't need volume. He didn't chase headlines or spark a shouting match. He allowed straightforward honesty to carry the moment. Each measured comment struck with force, steady, deliberate, and hard to brush aside. The panel's confident speeches began to stumble, and even their laughter sounded forced. In a surprising twist, he managed to make The View seem smaller without ever lifting his voice. With subtle humor, he quipped that the show's greatest achievement might be turning daytime television into something resembling jury duty, long, repetitive, and dressed up as meaningful debate. The most striking part? He never needed to single anyone out. The message was already understood. That's when honesty carries the most weight, when pretending not to hear it simply doesn't work anymore.
The problem is that you have to go after the racist people. And if be the CEO goes, you know what, I'm not going to allow a woman on my show, or man, that will go after white America and talk about them like dogs. That doesn't represent our ideals or values for anyone. And get rid of those people, and this will clear up real quick. So do you have to actually look in the mirror and clean up your own backyard and get the racist people out? Because that's who you allowed in. You allowed black racist on TV who could just go all day and say anything about white people. And I guess lo and behold, they forgot that there's a lot of people at home, white people at home during the day, that are not watching your show anymore. So just clean it up.
Yeah, you know.
Moments later, social media lit up, pairing Whoopi's eye rolls with Tyrus's calm half smile, capturing a burst of television tension unfolding live for everyone to see. Tyrus seemed to value the moment, not because it praised him, but because it let his argument stand on its own. On The View, tension rarely fades quietly. It thrives on loud exchanges. You could sense Whoopi Goldberg preparing a familiar rebuttal, yet even she looked slightly worn, as if humor is harder to counter than anger. Tyrus didn't attack the show, he exposed its weaknesses by staying calm. The panel later acted as though the moment was insignificant, but their repeated calls for respectful dialogue only echoed his critique. In trying to downplay it, they reinforced his point, while he remained steady, letting their reactions speak for him. If you think calm confidence speaks louder than chaos, hit like, drop your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe for more sharp breakdowns like this.